very short time.
We're going to need a different compass than growth as it is currently measured. We want to grow in wisdom. We want to grow in knowledge. We want to grow in just plain smarts at figuring out how to live well and take care of each other on this planet.
There's many opportunities now for developing countries to be able to leapfrog over the traditional path of development, the way that we got rich in the US or in Europe. In every poor community, you're going to find these kinds of social entrepreneurs that are figuring out a different way to create a better lifestyle. People are already creating solar energy and biogas solutions, more village level or homestead level solutions.
The real wealth of a nation, indeed of the world, is not financial. We've certainly seen that in the economic meltdown. That the real wealth of a nation consists really of the contributions of people and of nature. And we therefore need what we haven't had, economic policies that give visibility and value to the work of caring for people, starting in early childhood, and caring for our Mother Earth. Sweden, Finland, Norway invested in what I call a caring economic system. They have policies that are very, very much intended to help care for people starting in early childhood. Not only universal health care, high-quality child care, very generous paid parental leave for both mothers and fathers. Common wisdom would say that these should be countries with a very large population, because after all, these are what we call family-friendly policies. On the contrary, they have a very stable, low population growth. By investing more, as the Nordic nations have, in that high-quality human capital, you have a more skilled, if you will, functionally literate society. And you also will have people who will contribute more programs like Social Security.
This is a kind of shift that is very tough to imagine in our current political climate. But this idea of investment, of public goods, I think is a big part of a sustainable economy.
Before I went to Ethiopia, I intellectually understood JP's position about having a smaller biological family. But now, I feel like I really get it, about how population is the thing putting all this pressure on children's rights and on our planet. I think it's interesting that I'm the one being in this population film. My brothers and sisters have gone on to have many children. Their children are now having children. A lot of people have advanced degrees. We have a surgeon, lawyers, doctors, but it's still just an issue of numbers. Each person has a car, each person has to have a home. The impact is huge. And I realized that it starts with people like me and like JP just sitting down together at the beginning of our families and saying, our planet's limits have changed. How are we going to change how we make a family?
As long as you acknowledge that you do have choices and you take responsibility for those choices, I think happiness is something that we all can have, whether or not we have a child or not, whether we are parents or not. Everyone has their own path, everyone has their own choices, everyone has their own desires, hopes, and dreams. And that diversity is a good thing.
There are people working on the climate change issue. There are people working on agricultural issues, food security, HIV, AIDS, etc. We cannot deny that population growth is the common factor that could help the missions and agendas of all of these separate groups. There should be more dialogues between those groups. There should be more comprehensive programs being delivered into communities. So until we reprioritize, we're going to continue to just focus on crises that result from population growth issues of the day.
We will need our collective thinking as humans. And that's an opportunity maybe to break the barrier between, poor and rich, north and south. I think the planet forces us to define new solidarity projects for the first time maybe in our history.
Overpopulation is a symptom of domination systems. And if we want to change that, we've got to change the system. What is really the kind of world we want for our children? It's about an education that no longer idealizes the kings and the queens and the rulers, but that tells a story of modern times in terms of one challenge after another, one social movement after another challenging entrenched traditions of domination. All of these social movements, including the environmental movements, are really which challenges man's once hallowed conquest of nature. So part of our job is to change the stories.
The story of our history for the last 10,000 years has been a story of domination. But with women who have been nurturing all these years that are now stepping into these new roles of public leadership, all over the world, we can create this tidal wave of change that's not only going to ease our population problem, but it's going to bring about these policies that will sustain a new attitude towards our planet. It's just us. It's one human family, and that we're connected in our challenges, but we're connected in our solutions.
Family planning is being threatened in the U.S. and around the world. Tell your representative that family planning is important, as it saves lives, empowers women, fights poverty, combats global hunger, and helps to protect the environment. 130 million of the world's youth are not attending school. 70% are girls. Support girls' education programs. When a girl gets educated, she stays healthy and HIV negative, marries when she chooses, has fewer children, and raises a healthy family. Population growth concerns all of us on this planet. End the taboo and talk about it.
Hey there, heartbreaker, you can